Hi everyone, this is Sandy Reese with StampinCrew.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Thanks for joining me for another video tutorial. Today we're going to do a how did they make it video. Now I haven't done this for a long time, but someone asked how they made this card. Now it's on page 110 of the new annual catalog under the Metallic Magic section. And this is the card they were asking me about. They wanted to know how to make this. So I am going to show you. All right. First thing you're gonna need is your paper trimmer. Very important. All right, so what they've done, they have a basic white thick card base. We're not gonna do anything to this. We're just gonna fold that, we'll crease it, we'll set that aside, and then they have a layer. Now you could either emboss the front of your card front, or you could take another, oh, I have one. There it is. I take another piece of cardstock. This is the same size as my card front, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this is gonna cover the whole card front. To me, this was just easier, but if you wanna save a little bit on weight, you can just emboss the front of your card. All right, and then I used the new crochet, it's called Crochet Something embossing folder. I'll post all the supplies on my blog. It's just full of texture. So we're not gonna see much. We're just gonna see a little bit of texture on the sides, and that's it. All right, now the real magic happens here. Now this piece of cardstock is 5 1/2, so it goes all the way to the top of the card, and then it's 3 1/2 wide. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut 1/4 inch slots, not quite to the top, but like a 1/4 inch from the top, 1/4 inch from the bottom, and 1/4 inch from the side. So we're going to cut 7 of these. Now I like to move my paper trimmer for this landscape because I need to see the little grid pattern on the side here. If my head gets in the way, I apologize. You know what? I'm gonna do it this way so I can see better. So that grid's facing me. So we're gonna start with just a 1/4 inch. So every line on the paper trimmer is a 1/4 inch. So we're gonna start here, and I'm gonna move my cutting blade into the 1/4 inch position right here, and then I'm gonna go to 5 1/4 over here and cut that. If you go a little past, it's not a big deal. The goal is to not go off the sides. Now, I even saw in the sample, I was looking real close, their cut lines are not all perfect, so don't worry about it if it's not perfect. Okay, so now we're just gonna close that up. We're gonna go back to 1/4 inch, and that's 2. This also helps me to hold this in place, so hopefully I get it lined up correctly. Okay, going to a 1/4, that's 3. We need 7. 5 1/4, down to a 1/4, that's, how many is that, 4? That almost doesn't look right, but we're gonna keep going. If it's not quite right, that's okay. We're not gonna sweat the small stuff, right? Okay, 1, 2. You know what, that slid a little bit. Hold on a second. We're gonna try it again. Let me cut another piece. Ugh, I just want it to be right. 3 1/2 by, nothing is cutting here, by 5 1/2. Okay, you've got to be careful not to get off. I can see here that it moved a little bit, so we're gonna start over. We're gonna do this real quick. Oh no, okay. I got a little hanging chat on there I'm gonna fix in a minute. Okay, we can do this quickly. So we're just going every 1/4 inch Trying to keep that just in place. I think my paper slid when I closed it is the problem. Let me try to keep my hands on that. Okay, moving along. The trick to getting this looking so perfectly even is making sure everything's 1/4 inches. One, two, three, four, five, six. One more, I think. We'll make sure we have enough. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there we go, 7. All right, so you can see how we have all those slits, and then we're approximately 1/4 inch from the top, and then we have this one on the side. I'm going to trim off this little bit that didn't get cut well. Okay, now I have taken our textured metallic cards paper, specialty paper, right here. So it comes in silver, gold, and copper. And I have cut 1/4 inch strips, and then I cut them into 3-inch strips. I did a sample before, so I've got a little extra. But you just need probably 1 1/4 inch strip is all you need to make this card. One like 12 by 1/4 inch, and then cut it into 3 inches. So these are the gold, copper, and silver 1/4 inch strips by 3 inches. And we are going to do some weaving. So we're starting out with the copper. And this copper one starts from the back. This is the very first one. And then weaves in between the little slats. And this one goes all the way to the edge. And then we need to push it as far up as we can. Okay, and this one needs to be flush the edge of our paper, and we just want it to be straight. Okay, now on the back, no one's going to see the back. We don't need to get fancy. I'm just going to go easy with a little bit of Scotch tape, which I have somewhere. What did I do with my Scotch tape? Oh, it's hiding under my dimensionals. Okay. I'm just gonna tape that in place. Not a big deal. Okay, next we're gonna do a piece of gold. And this one actually hangs off a little bit here, and it goes under. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna thread it the opposite. And it's easier to go down, and then you can push it up. So it's hidden under here, but it's going to, I'm actually going to pull that and just leave a 1/4 inch hanging out. This is where eyeballing comes in. If you want to measure it, you can. But I feel like that's about a 1/4 inch. It looks pretty even with all the other things. And you want to push it up as far as you can. It's not really spaced at a 1/4 inch up and down, so that's not a big deal. I'm just going to put a little piece of tape there to hold it, and I'm going to trim that off behind there so you don't see it. Okay, next we're going to use silver. And with the silver one, we only have 3 pieces showing. So let's do 1, 2, I think, yep, we're going to go 1 less than that. So it's going to stop right about there. We're going to push it up. And this one cuts off right here. I'll line it up straight and just trim that off with my scissors. Make sure it's pulled up. That looks pretty good. I'm just gonna hold this in place. You know, you could use glue and all that, but you know, it gets real messy and you don't ever want to get adhesive on your foil paper because it is a disaster to get off. Okay, so we're just gonna, you know, we're gonna go safe. Okay, now this one hangs off again on this edge, but it comes in a little bit less than this one. So we're only gonna go that far. And we're gonna do 3, and we want a 1/4 inch right there. Right like that. Okay, let's flip it. Let's trim that off. Oh, I'm gonna have to readjust here. Make sure that looks straight. That looks good. Okay. It's a little bit of fussing around with it. All right, we'll put a little piece of tape there and make sure that's held in place. All right, now we're going to start from the bottom on this next group. So I think we have copper first. Let's find another, there's a copper. So this copper is going to go up through here. I'm just was going by the picture. We've got 3 squares of copper showing. And push that as far down as we can. Okay, that looks pretty good. I don't need all of that. We're going to keep that in place. Now, when I say how did they make that, this is just my guess on how they make it, but it's going to look just like it. So whether they made it like this or not, this is how it's going to look. All right, so this one sticks out on this end. So you're always weaving the next one opposite, and then it's just debating on where you're going to stop it, where you're going to start it. Okay, and pull this down. We want a 1/4 inch hanging out, just like that, the best we can. And cut out that excess. And then a little piece of tape to hold it in place. All right, next color is gold. And this gold one is going to come up from behind. It's nice to have all that that extra space in the middle to do your weaving, because it's hard when it gets tight. So this one comes all the way to the edge, and then it hides behind there. I'm not going to worry about trimming that off. There's not much left. And then we go back to copper. All right, my pieces are all turned around. Here's a copper. Okay, this copper one is going to come off the right side. Let's weave this in. Okay. Whoops. All right, and pull this all the way. And then do about a 1/4 inch hanging off on the right. That looks pretty good. Piece of tape. And trim off that little bit of extra. Okay. And let's see, we have another silver strip. That's white. That doesn't belong in here. Okay. I know we have another silver strip. Here it is. All right, this one just has three showing. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think that looks pretty straight. And then we'll do another piece of gold, and this one is hanging off the edge on the right, but it is one less than the silver. So let's pull this through. It's a little easier to eyeball it that way. That looks pretty even. Let's tape it, and then we'll trim that. Okay, we're going to put adhesive when well, we're not, because we're going to pop this whole thing up. So that, I think, is all the weaving. I've cut a little piece of white, and that should fit right there. So if you want, just go ahead and put a little more tape down to just kind of hold it if you want. You think you need that, because we're going to pop this up. All right, let's do some assembly. And you know what? I'm even going to put a piece of tape right across here to hold these down in place. Hopefully that will make, there we go. Then it won't pop up so much. Let's do a little more. Let's do the whole up and down right there. And we're just going to seal all that we're not popping up. Then it's not quite so noticeable. All right, let's do a little assembly. We're going to cover the whole front of our card with this embossed piece. So let's get right to the edge. Without going over the edge, which I'm sure I did a little bit. And we want to make sure the whole front is covered. Oh, I lined that up pretty good. I'm impressed. Usually I have to do it like 3 times. I mean, it's not perfect. Don't look at the bottom. Okay, we are going to take this and let's pop this up. Sticky. These are leftover paper pumpkin dimensionals we're using up from my lovely friend Valita, who doesn't like to use these for some reason. She likes the little ones, I think. So she saves me the big ones. And I really appreciate that. Okay, so shout out to Valita. All right, now on this card, they had a smaller border. It reaches top to bottom, but a smaller border on the right. So I'm moving this over. So there's only about a 1/4 inch showing on the right. And we have about a 1/2 inch on the left. Then we have a little sentiment strip. Now I cut mine down a little bit because the set that they use for the sentiment, I don't have. So I'm using my own set, or a different set. I'm doing this So Sincere. Which words am I using? Your kindness is so appreciated. And I am going to use Smoky Slate because that has kind of a gray silver kind of look. And we'll stamp this right here. They had a taller set, so I think their piece of, that's not very straight. Let's try this again. That's a little better. So I think their piece of white that they used was a little taller, but it didn't look right for mine. So I went with a slightly shorter piece. Okay. And then I'm just going to center it right there. Okay, and then they use, so for the flowers that they used were from this set. Now I don't have this set yet, so I'm going to have to make do with something else. Where is it? I want to show you because at first, when I first saw them, I thought they were gems, and they are not gems. They are from this set, and Flowers of Beauty, and the dies right here cut out a whole line of these flowers. So I'm not sure which one it was, probably these bigger ones, but it cuts out a whole line, which is a lot better than what I had to do. So I used the little birdhouse set. I don't ask me what this is called. I do know. Country Birdhouse dies. And I used this little flower. Okay. So I had to cut out 5 of those. So I cut them out. I think I have 2 of each color except for copper, or except for gold. I only did 1 gold. I did 2 silver, 2 copper, and 1 gold. So you use, you just use whatever you have. The question is, are they popped up? I've lost my page. There it is. I don't think these are popped up. So we are just going to like bend them a little bit. And we're going to use a little teeny drop of, I'm going to use a glue dot. Only because glue and foil don't mix. Just like water and oil, glue and foil, not friends. You can, if you get glue on cardstock, you can use an adhesive remover, one of those rubber things we've had in the past, and get the adhesive off. If you try to use that on foil, it's just going to make a big, gummy, smeared mess. That sounds harsh, but it's true. So don't do it. All right, be very careful using foil and glue. And this card took too long to have to be careful with that. So I'm going to take this little copper flower. I'm going to put it right here. And kind of bend up my little flowers and give it some life. All right, we're going to take this little silver one and put it right on that silver square. And I'm going to take a gold one, put on that. Where am I going to put this? I'm going to put it on that copper one. That's where they have it. And then put this on this one. And last but not least, it's probably backwards, but that's okay. We're going to put that one right there. And then I do have, where did I put them? These are new. These are in our metallic section here. These are the adhesive back metallic gems. I love these things. I'm using them in class coming up, so I'm having to order quite a few packs. I'm just going to use the little ones on these flowers. So I'm going to put a copper on copper. These match so well, copper on copper. They don't have to stand out. It's just to give that little fun extra glimmer. Silver on silver, and then a gold one on the gold. Cute! And that's it. Did it come out? It came out pretty close. I think they used basic gray and then a different sentiment, but I think that turned out pretty darn close. So I hope you liked it, the project today. And if you have questions, let me know. But I hope that helps. All right, thanks everybody. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.